Hare Krishna. Let us start chanting Japa one round with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं मुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for All session. Today is Monday, so we'll be reciting a new Bhagavad Gita verse. We completed 929. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. So the next memorization verse is, which one am I seeing? This is chapter 10. Sorry. Chapter 9. Chapter 9. So we finished 9. Let me check what's the next one. Okay, 9:30. So we have to memorize all of them. 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. All. So next one is 9:30. Please repeat. Of course, this is very important. Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhag sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasito hi saha. Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhag साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सः अपि चेत् सुदुराचारो भजते माम् अनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सः. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. So, does anyone need to go first? So, we'll just go in order then. Achyut Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Guru Maharaj.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to the assembled devotees. अपि चेसु दुराचारो भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यो सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सः. Translation given by His Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation: even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. I missed your lecture yesterday, Mataji. I will listen in the temple. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. You're doing okay, Mataji? Health is okay?
Yes, Mataji. So many things. My mother-in-law just got discharged. So many things going on.
Okay.
So, thank you, Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Achintadev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhuji, please repeat. Api chet suduracharo
Api chet duracharo
bhajate mam ananya bhag
bhajate mam ananya bhak
sadhureva samantavyaha
sadhureva
mantavyaha
sadhur eva mantavya
samyag vyavasito hi saha
samyak vivashito va
samyag vyavasito hi saha.
samya vivashito hi shaha. Translation: even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Arunitan. Hare Krishna.
Api chet duracharo bhajante mam
Bhajate
mam ananyabhak sadhurev jamma mantavya samyak vivasito hi sa. Translation. If one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is not to be considered saintly. He is to be considered saintly because he is properly suited in his determination.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Mataji.
Please accept my humble obeisances of to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
अपि चेत् सुदुराचारो भजते मामन्य भासा दुरेव समन्तव्य सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सा. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination.
Thank you, Mataji. Next, Inba, Inya, Jai Shri Mataji, Jai Ganesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadureva samantavya samyag vyavasito hi saha. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Inya.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Api chet suduracharo bhajate mamananyabhak sadur eva samantavya samyag vyavasito hi saha. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination.
Prabhuji.
Dandavat pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
अपि चेत् सुदुराचारो भजते माम् अनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सः. Translation. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat pranam, Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Api chetsu duracharo bhajate mam anyabhak
Ananyabhak
shadur. Sorry, I'll start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Api chetsu duracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak shadur eva samanya mantavyaha samyag vasito hi saha. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay. Isha, Krishna, Shish, Madhava, Rasapriya.
Suduracharo bhajate mamananyabhak sadureva samantavya samyag vyavasito hi saha. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly, but he is properly situated in his determination.
Yes. Priyanka Mataji. Are you able to recite, Priyanka Mataji?
Sorry, Mataji.
Okay, no problem. So everyone has recited, I think. All right. So this verse is saying, Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasito hi saha. Krishna is saying, Api. Api means even though. Apichet sudurachara. Sudurachara. Durachari means somebody who is doing abominable activities. Sudurachara means extremely abominable activities. extremely abominable activities. Bhajate mam ananya bhak. Ananya means what? He's ananya bhakta. That means he's doing 24/7 devotional service. So you may question, how is it possible that somebody is doing 24/7 devotional service, ananya bhakti, and at the same time he's engaged in extremely abominable activities? It's possible. We will discuss this whole verse step by step over the next few days. I'll take a small chunk at a time. So, bhajate mam ananya bhak. But the condition is he's engaged in ananya bhakti. Then, sadhureva samantavyaha. You must, Krishna is telling, you must consider him a sadhu. Mantavyaha means you should think. You should accept him. Sadhureva samantavyaha. You should consider him to be a sadhu. Even if he is doing extremely abominable activities, if he is engaged in ananya bhakti, whenever the word ananya bhakti comes, always remember that definition. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam. These three, when they are satisfied, then he is doing ananya bhakti. So this person is doing ananya bhakti, but he is doing extremely abominable activities. Why he is doing that, we will discuss it later. Okay. Krishna is saying, if he is ananya bhakta and if he is doing extremely abominable activities, you must consider him to be a sadhu. Why? Samyak vyavasito hi saha. Because he is samyak. Samyak means completely. Vyavasitoha. Vyavasitaha means he is situated. In what is he situated? He is situated in his determination. He is situated in bhakti properly. But he is doing abominable activities also. You should still consider him sadhu. Why we should consider him a sadhu, still Krishna will explain in the next verse. Okay. But here the point is, you remember the previous verse? Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mayite teshu chapyaham. He is in me and I am in him. How did Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explain that? He is in me and I am in him. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said, he is in me means he is completely attached to me. And I'm also in him means I'm also always thinking about him. He is thinking about me. Any devotee who is always thinking about me all the time, I will also be thinking about him all the time. He also, Krishna says, someone who becomes attached to me, I also become attached to him. To what extent does Krishna love his devotee? He loves such a devotee even if he is durachari, even if he is doing extremely sinful activities. When Krishna loves his devotee, it does not matter. He will just love his devotee. So in this world, or you may have seen some movies in the past, they always expect that whatever I do, or even in real life also, right? Generally in movies they show like that. The expectation is that even if I am very sinful or whatever I may be, I want someone to love me the way I am. Isn't it? Whatever it is, it does not matter. But somebody who just loves me for who I am, regardless of what I do, what I don't do. Isn't it? This type of love they show, but we don't see this type of love. Maybe the closest you can get to that is the parents' love for the child, right? No matter what the child does, they will still keep loving. That's the closest you can get to. But actually, this type of love only Krishna can love. No matter what the devotee does, even if he is engaged in extremely abominable activities, Krishna does not give up on his devotee. He is attached to him. Bhakta Vatsala, Krishna loves his devotees very much. When he becomes attached to a devotee, he does not give up on the devotee, no matter what he does. But there is a condition here. What do you mean by devotee? That's why we should understand what it means to be a devotee. Once I went in front of Krishna and said, Krishna, I'm yours and ho gaya. And after that, I go back to my, am I a devotee like that? Ananya Bhakti, always, as soon as you say Bhakta, you should take Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti means all those conditions apply. With this, specifically, the chapter 9 and 10 are talking about Ananya Bhaktas. the greatness of a pure devotee. This is a pure devotee. But how is it possible that he's committing sinful activities? We'll discuss that in the next classes. Okay. But for now, let's just understand this much. Where is this point coming from? Why Krishna is saying this? Because in the previous verse, Krishna said, Maite teshu chapyaham. He is in me and I am in him. He is attached to me and I am attached to him. To what extent am I attached to him? Even if he does any sinful activities, abominable activities, you should still consider him a sadhu. Otherwise, it becomes an offense. You should consider him a sadhu. Let me tell you what these abominable activities are. We are not talking about telling a lie or stealing something or, no. Abominable activity means really abominable activities like killing somebody or, having sex with guru's wife. Not just with another married lady, but with one's guru's wife. Like extremely abominable activities which you cannot even imagine. Still, if he is engaged in Ananya Bhakti, you should consider him a sadhu, Krishna is saying. The important thing that we have to see here is not that, oh, so if I'm a devotee, then I can do anything I like. That's not the point here. Here, the point that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is trying to bring out is how much a devotee loves Krishna loves his devotee, and how careful we must be when we are judging another person, another devotee. Right? Krishna does not give up on his devotee. If Krishna does not give up on his devotees, Krishna is attached to his devotee, how can I judge another devotee? That's the point we should take here. So here the highlight is how much Krishna loves his devotee. Even if he does abominable activities, he does not give up on his devotee. That's the point we'll remember. Okay. And we'll continue further. There's a lot of discussion on these two verses. Now let's do Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam and also it applies to the devotee also, right? We can take it the other way. We are seeing why Krishna loves his devotee so much, because it goes both ways, right? Maite teshu chapyaham. Devotee also does not give up on Krishna. A devotee becomes so attached to Krishna that under no circumstances is able to give up Krishna. To such a devotee, Krishna also becomes very attached. Why I am saying this? Because now we are reading about Bali Maharaj. What all Vamandev did to Bali Maharaj? Did Bali Maharaj give up on the Supreme Lord, on Vamandev? No, he didn't. He said, you are my most worshipable Lord. No matter what you do to me, you will remain my worshipable Lord. To such a devotee, how the Lord reciprocates? Oh, you are my everything. He becomes his doorkeeper. So this is the relationship between the Lord and his devotee. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 22. Bali Maharaj surrenders his life to Vamandev. And let's quickly go over what we read in the last class. Only by providence. Okay. Bali Maharaj is saying, my grandfather, the best of all men who achieved unlimited knowledge and was worshipable for everyone, was afraid of the common men in this world. Being fully convinced of the substantiality afforded by shelter at your lotus feet, he took shelter of your lotus feet against the will of his father and demoniac friends who were killed by your own self. So if you remember, Bali Maharaj said, what is the use of this family? What is the use of my property, my wealth, my wife, my children? Everything is going to leave me at the time of death. Even my body is going to leave me at the time of death. And for these things and for this body, man engages in so many abominable activities. Maybe he can engage in sinful activities, and he even, so those that are not going to stay with us, for them we give everything. And for the Supreme Lord, we neglect him. We put him in the back seat, right? I'll do it later, afterwards. But Bali Maharaj is saying, what is the use of working for them and risking our relationship with the Supreme Lord for these things? It's not wise. And he's saying, my grandfather, Prahlad Maharaj, was very afraid of common men, right? He was very much afraid of common men. Why he is afraid of common men? Means common men means somebody who is attached to sense gratification. Yes? And they will preach to you, now you're young, now you should enjoy life, you should, you should build your career and this and that. All these things, Krishna consciousness, you can do in your old age. Now is not the time. For example, common men means their goal is sense gratification, right? Work hard, earn money and enjoy. Prahlad Maharaj was very afraid of common men. Bali Maharaj is saying. So that was the point. And then, text. He was afraid of common. Being fully convinced of the substantiality afforded by the shelter of your lotus feet, he took shelter of your lotus feet against the will of his father and demoniac friends. So who are the common men here? His father Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad Maharaj's father Hiranyakashipu, and his friends, classmates in Gurukul, demoniac friends. Of course, later on they all were influenced by him and they became devotees. But before that, they all wanted him to just enjoy life. And Prahlad Maharaj was very much afraid of common men in this world. And he had more faith in the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord than in the different what do you say? The different offers, right? Given by the common man, how you can be happy in this world. And he didn't have faith in that because he understood the temporary nature of the happiness in this world. Whereas the shelter that we get at the lotus feet of the Lord is substantial. Krishna gives assurances in Bhagavad Gita time and again. He says, don't worry, I will protect you, I will care for you, I will provide for you. Simply surrender unto me, worship me, become my devotee. Again and again Krishna says, isn't it? Prahlad Maharaj had faith in the words of Krishna. He is dependable. Others are not dependable. Then Bali Maharaj is saying, quoting this, his grandfather, he's saying, only by providence have I been forcibly brought under your shelter and deprived of all my opulence. Because of the illusion created by temporary opulence, people in general who live under material conditions, facing accidental death at every moment, do not understand that this life is temporary. See? So, death is there for everyone. Like yesterday at the temple, we were discussing Antakale cha mame vasmaran muktva kalevaram. Right? That moment of giving up this body is going to happen for everyone. But who is prepared for that? People who are under the illusion of living comfortably in this world, in this life, they don't like to think about death and they're not prepared for death. They don't make plans that, oh, I'm going to die. And even sometimes they make plans for how my funeral should be and this and that. Are they actually preparing for the moment of death? When I give up this body, what is my consciousness going to be? Where am I going from here? They're still thinking about this body. Who all will come to see me? How should I look? How should I means my dead body, how should it be dressed and decorated? What colored clothes I should be wearing and what flowers and this and this is completely ignorance. And they plan for their funeral. But where I am going, I don't know. Isn't it? But really what we should be planning for is, what is my consciousness going to be at the time of death? My consciousness at the time depends on my consciousness at every moment throughout my life. We should be working on our consciousness. What am I thinking of? What am I concerned about? What are my thoughts all the time? That's important. So Bali Maharaj is saying that people, why they are not able to think about the Supreme Lord, why they don't think about death? Because they are enamored by material opulence. And that material opulence puts them in ignorance, in illusion. That is why suffering is also good from time to time. Kunti Maharani says, right, give me suffering. Because in suffering, then you face reality and you call out to Krishna. But when everything is nice, you become completely, covered over. You'll be in ignorance. You won't remember Krishna when everything is nice. Materialistic people, they don't remember the Supreme Lord. So what is the use of such opulence? Why should I try for that opulence, which makes me forget Krishna? Whereas a devotee, whether it is happiness or distress, even in distress means this type of distress, right? What Bali Maharaj is going through, he is able to bow down before the Lord, even in this distressful condition, and he is able to express his gratitude. What does Brahmaji say about this devotee? Tattenukampa susamikshmana bhunjaya evatmakritam vipakam vidvagvapurabhirvidadhan namaste jiveta yo muktipade sadaya bhak. That person who is able to bow down before the Supreme Lord while suffering severe punishment, right? Material suffering he's experiencing, and he's thinking, whatever I'm suffering is only because of my own past sinful activity. But the Lord is so kind, because I've taken shelter of him. He has minimized my suffering to, he's giving me only a token suffering. I should have suffered much, much more. My Lord is so kind. And he bows down in front of the Lord in gratitude, all the way suffering, all the, taking all the punishment that's coming on him. When this is the consciousness of a person, then he is the rightful heir, right? You get inheritance. Going back to Godhead is his rightful inheritance. He has earned his ticket to go back to Godhead, if this is his consciousness. Not that, why am I suffering? What did I do? Krishna is not kind to me. No, that's not the attitude of a devotee. He understands that whatever I'm suffering is because of my own past sinful activities. And then he bows down before Krishna. He thanks Krishna, like we see in the case of Bali Maharaj. So with that, we'll continue reading. Only by providence have I been forcibly brought under your lotus feet and deprived of all my opulence. See, this is your mercy. Only by providence, okay, by providence, I have been brought forcibly under your lotus feet and deprived of all my opulence. Because of the illusion created by temporary opulence, people in general who live under material conditions, facing accidental death at every moment, do not understand that this life is temporary. Only by providence have I been saved from this condition. Now we'll do the next verse. I think I sent, who's supposed to read today? I'll just look if you don't remember. Friday. Usha Mataji. So Usha Mataji is not here. Priyanka Mataji, are you able to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Sri Shuka Uvacha Tasyetam Bhashamanasya Prahrado Bhagavat Priyaha Ajagama Kuru Shrestha Rakapatir Ivottitaha.
Shukdev Goswami said, O best of the Kurus, while the Bali Maharaj was describing his fortunate position in this way, the most dear devotee of the Lord, Prahlad Maharaj, appeared there, like the moon rising in the night time.
Yes. So it's nice. Bali Maharaj is quoting his grandfather twice, right? First he said, Prahlad Maharaj, he underwent all types of risks, but he didn't give up the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. He underwent all types of risks, but he didn't give up on the Supreme Lord. And again, the verse previous to this, he said that my grandfather, he is worshipped by everyone as a devotee, but he's afraid of the common men, like that. So now while Bali Maharaj was saying this, that this is by providence, this is by your mercy that I have been brought to this condition, appreciating. Right at that time, Prahlad Maharaj like a moon, right, shining. He appears there in the assembly, like the moon rising at night time. Tam Indrasena Swapitamaham Shriya Virajamanam Nalinayate Kshanam Ramshumpi Sangambaramanjanatvisham Pralamba Bahum Shubhagarsha Bham Pralamba Bahum Shubhagarsha Bhamaikshata. Okay, after Priyanka Mataji. Saujanya Mataji is here? No. So, Narsimha Leela Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danda Vishnu Srila Prabhupada, please
Dandavat
accept my
Pranam
devotion.
Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhuji.
Translation by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. Then Bali Maharaja saw his grandfather Prahlad Maharaja, the most fortunate personality, whose dark body resembled black ointment for the eyes. His tall, elegant figure was dressed in yellow garments, and he had long arms, and his beautiful eyes were like the petals of a lotus. He was a very dear and pleasing to everyone.
So this is the description of how Prahlad Maharaj looked like. So Bali Maharaj, and how Bali Maharaj saw, and what Prahlad Maharaj looked like. So he saw Prahlad Maharaj, the most fortunate personality. See, he's a devotee himself, Bali Maharaj, and how he's seeing another great devotee. So whose dark body resembled black ointment for the eyes. That means his body was like the kajal, right? His tall, elegant figure was dressed in yellow garments. He had long arms and his beautiful eyes were like the petals of a lotus. He was very dear and pleasing to everyone. Next. Tasmai balirvarunapashayantritaha samarhanam nopajahara purvavat नाममूर्ध्नाश्रुविलोललोचनः सव्रीडनीचीनमुखो बभूवः.
They are not there, Mataji.
Okay. Achyut Priya Mataji. Not ready, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Then translation.
Yes. Being bound by the ropes of Varuna, Bali Maharaj could not offer befitting respect to Prahlad Maharaj as he had before. Rather, he simply offered respectful obeisances with his head, his eyes being inundated with tears and his face lowered in shame. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Being bound by the ropes of Varuna, yes, what is Bali Maharaj's condition? First, he saw his grandfather, so beautiful. But what was his own condition? He's tied up, bound by the ropes of Varuna. So, because of that, he was not able to offer respects to Prahlad Maharaj. He simply offered respectful obeisances with his head, just bowed down his head because his hands were tied up. He just lowered his head in front of Prahlad Maharaj, and his eyes were filled with tears, and his face was lowered in shame. Why? Because he was not able to fulfill his promise to the Lord. That's why he was arrested and he was getting punished. So he was feeling shameful. So he lowered his head in shame because now he's standing there like a criminal, right? Like someone. So he's feeling ashamed. Purport. Just see such a soft heart of Bali Maharaj. He's not complain. What was the mood of the other demons when simply when Vamandev took with his 2 steps he covered the whole universe and he said, where should I put my 3rd step? Immediately all the other demons went to attack Vamandev, isn't it? And Bali Maharaj, he was arrested. Not just all his property was taken away, he was arrested, and now it's said that you cheated me, so you have to go to hell. And still he's feeling, yes, I deserve because I didn't fulfill my condition, and he's feeling ashamed. And in that condition, his eyes were filled with tears and he's shameful. He lowered his head. Of course, in obeisances, he lowered his head. But also his eyes were filled with tears when he saw his grandfather, feeling ashamed that I've done something wrong. Purport, what is Srila Prabhupada saying? Achintya Dev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Purport. Since Bali Maharaj had been arrested by Lord Vamandev, he was certainly to be considered an offender. Bali Maharaj seriously felt that he was an offender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Certainly, Prahlad Maharaj would not like this. Therefore, Bali Maharaj was ashamed and hung his head. Thank you, Mata.
Hare Krishna. So, Prahlad Maharaj would not like this because Prahlad Maharaj is a devotee. Here is the same Supreme Lord, right? Prahlad Maharaj is a devotee, and Bali Maharaj is thinking, oh, I have offended the Supreme Lord. And see, if we offend the Supreme Lord, will the devotees be happy with us? They won't, right? Will the spiritual master be happy if we offended the Supreme Lord? No. So Bali Maharaj is genuinely thinking, I have offended Vamandev, that's why he has arrested me. He's angry with me, and I have really offended him. That's why he's upset with me. Devotee never finds fault with the Supreme Lord. He's not thinking that I didn't do anything wrong still. No. He's thinking I'm an offender. And I'm an offender to the Supreme Lord. Now this great devotee has come. So shameful, right? How will I face the devotee after offending the Lord? So he's feeling embarrassed. Okay, next. Arunita or Mataji, Aditilata Mataji. Satatrahasi namudikshya satpatim harim sunandadyanugairupaasitam upetya bhumau shirasa mahamana nanama murdna pulakashru viklavaha. Arunita or Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
When the great personality, Prahlad Maharaj, saw that the Supreme Lord was sitting there, surrounded and worshipped by his intimate associates like Sunanda, he was overwhelmed with tears of jubilation. Approaching the Lord and falling to the ground, he offered obeisances to the Lord with his head.
Yes. 1 second. When the great personality Prahlad Maharaj saw that the Supreme Lord was sitting there, okay, surrounded and worshipped by his intimate associates like Sunanda, he was overwhelmed with tears of jubilation. Another highlight here, just pay attention. Prahlad Maharaj is also not thinking, what did Bali Maharaj do, my Lord? Why did you do? Oh, poor Bali. No. He saw the Supreme Lord. This is what it means. Krishna is saying, Maite teshu chapyaham. My devotee does not know anything but me. He's completely absorbed in me. He becomes ecstatic seeing me. He becomes very happy. You know, the relationship is compared to something like a young boy and a young boy means young man, right? In his youth, right? When in teens, right? Like maybe 16, 17, 18 years old. For the first time, when a teenager falls in love with another teenager, right? What is the attraction that they have? It's like you just think about that person all the time. So that type of love, my Lord, I want to have for you. That type of attraction I want to have for you. That's a devotee's prayer. So that is the attraction, that is the love. Of course, that's material, but you can't think of anything else. That's the point. So maite teshu chapyam means for my devotee, there's nothing. He doesn't see anything except me all the time. And to me also, when someone becomes like that, someone becomes attracted to me like that, I also become so attracted to that devotee. So Prahlad Maharaj came and he saw Bali Maharaj offering obeisances, and his what do you say? He's feeling embarrassed, he's feeling ashamed, and there's a big assembly. But what did Prahlad Maharaj see first? He saw the Supreme Lord, he saw his Lord, and he became ecstatic. That's the first thing. So the Lord is the dearest, right? And even whatever attachment, another point is whatever attachment we have towards the devotees, it's not separate from the Lord. Our attachment to the devotees is because of our attachment to the Lord. Of course, this will be realized as we progress in bhakti, in higher stages of bhakti. In the initial stages, we simply become attached to the process itself. We become attached to the bhakti process, right? Either whatever devotional service you do, whether you are a pujari, then you become attached to, like, let's say you attend Mangalarti, you become attached to going and attending Mangalarti. You just become attached to that. Or let's say you do Seva, Guru Puja every day. You become attached to offering Guru Puja every day. Or let's say you make garlands, then you become attached to that Seva of making garlands and you want to do it better and better and better. That is the initial stages of bhakti. But as you advance, you become attached to the personality himself. You become attached. This is like advanced stages. You just become attached to the Supreme Lord. And anything which is related to the Lord becomes very dear to you. So then that is why in the advanced stages of bhakti, the devotee feels compassion for all the suffering souls, because all the souls are parts and parcels of Krishna. Krishna has love for every living entity. And an advanced devotee, because he has so much love for Krishna, he sees how much Krishna loves. Those who are dear to Krishna, they also become dear to him. Like that. But whereas in the initial stages, what happens? We have for us now in our condition, we have people who are dear to us, isn't it? Like maybe our family members, our children, or our friends. And if something happens to them, then we become angry with Krishna sometimes. How you did this, I did so much devotional service to you, how you're, like that. But those who are advanced devotees, what is their attitude? Whatever Krishna does, Krishna cannot be wrong. Their attraction for Krishna doesn't change. And based on that relationship with the Supreme Lord, then they see everyone else. Others, everyone becomes dear to them because Krishna is so dear to me, and these people are dear to Krishna, therefore they are also dear to me. That's the relationship. So that's what we should see here in Prahlad Maharaj. What is Prahlad Maharaj? So how is Sukadev Goswami saying? When the great personality Prahlad Maharaj saw the Supreme Lord was sitting there, surrounded and worshipped by his intimate associates like Sunanda, he was overwhelmed with tears of jubilation. Approaching the Lord and falling to the ground, he offered obeisances to the Lord with his head. You remember when Prahlad Maharaj was a 5-year-old boy, and when he got darshan of Nrsimhadev, same thing, right? He was overwhelmed with affection when he saw Lord Nrsimhadev, how much he loved, and he went and fell flat in front of the lotus feet of Nrsimhadev, the Supreme Lord. Another lesson to be learned here is a devotee recognizes his Supreme Lord in whichever form he comes. It's not that, oh, my Ishtadev is Nrsimhadev, so Vamandev I don't recognize. No. I heard like one great devotee of Lord Ramchandra told His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj that how are you able to, because this person, a devotee of Lord Ram, he was very good friends with another Muslim friend. And that every day they would spend hours and hours coming together and discussing. That person talks about, Allah. And this devotee of Lord Ram, he talks about Lord Ramchandra. And they have the best of time together. They're talking every day, hours together. And His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, back then when he was a young person, he was amazed at this. How is it? They're two different religions and they're best of friends, and their talk is all about the Supreme Lord. How are they able to do that? So then he asked this devotee of Lord Ram, then he said, a dog, even a dog, recognizes its master no matter how he comes, right? When he comes from work, he's dressed in a certain way, right? And when he goes to the swimming pool, then he's dressed in a different way. And when he goes to the temple, he's dressed in a different way. When he goes to bed at night, then he's dressed in a different way. Does the dog not recognize its master because he's wearing different clothes? No. The dog recognizes its master no matter how he comes, in whichever dress he may come. He just goes wagging its tail. Like that, when one is a devotee of the Supreme Lord, he immediately recognizes the Supreme Lord in whichever form he may come. The important thing is you should know the Supreme Lord. Who is the Supreme Lord? I gave you this example also in the past. Srila Prabhupada says, you have the same birds or flowers or fruits that are there in India. They may be in Africa, they are in America. But they have different names in different parts of the world. They are known by different names. Let's say even within India, all of you here are from India. You say water, right? In Telugu, you say Nilu. In Sanskrit, you say, what do you say? Jal, or you say Niru, or in Hindi you say pani, right? In Bengali you say jol. Same subject is known by different names in different parts of the world. Important thing is you should know what that object is. Then whatever name they may call, it doesn't matter to you. When you're thirsty, you'll just drink it. They may say, I'm giving you jol, you'll still drink it because you know it's water. So you should know what is water. Then however they call it, it does not matter. It will quench your thirst. So similarly, we should know who is God. And when we know God and when we become devotee of the Lord, it does not matter of course, it has to be a bona fide name. You cannot concoct some name. That's a whole different story. And he has his names and he has his forms and pastimes. He can come in whichever form and a devotee will recognize. So that's also interesting, I thought. Prahlad Maharaj, he was, worshipping the Supreme Lord Krishna. And the Lord appeared as Narasimhadev. And he was completely, attracted to that form. And he got so much mercy. His Ishtadev, right? And now he comes as Vamandev. And he is in ecstasy, seeing his Lord. And with tears in his eyes, he offers Shashtang Pranam in front of the Supreme Lord. Okay, so when the great personality Prahlad Maharaj saw the Supreme Lord was sitting there surrounded and worshipped by his intimate associates like Sunanda, he was overwhelmed with tears of jubilation. Approaching the Lord and falling to the ground, he offered obeisances to the Lord with his head. Next. Sri Prahlada Uvacha Tvayaiva Dattam Padamaindramurjitam Haritam Tadevadya Tathaiva Shobhanam Manye Mahanasya Krito Hyanugraho Vibhramshito Yachriya Atma Mohanat. Aditi Lata Mataji.
Prahlad Maharaj said, My Lord, it is your Lordship who gave this Bali the very great opulence of the post of Heavenly King. And now, today, it is you who have taken it all away. I think you have acted with equal duty in both ways. Because his exalted position as King of Heaven was putting him in the darkness of ignorance, you have done him a very merciful favor by taking away all his opulence.
Do you see the similarity in Bali Maharaj's understanding and Prahlad Maharaj's understanding of the situation? We've been reading what Bali Maharaj was saying to Vamandev all this time. Exactly, his understanding is the same. So this gives us another lesson. Vaishnava Siddhanta does not get changed. So many devotees can speak. So many acharyas give us commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam. Each acharya has a different flavor. They bring out a certain point. But the Siddhanta, the conclusion does not change. The conclusion remains the same. So if we change the conclusion when we speak, then we are doing a disservice. So therefore, we have to hear again and again so that we understand what is the conclusion and then present that conclusion. What did Bali Maharaj say? If you remember to Vamandev, he said, My Lord, even one's well-wisher does not punish the way you are punishing me, right? But still you are the most worshipable Lord. Because I know whatever you do, you only have the best interest of your devotee in your heart. You cannot do anything which is not good for the devotee. However difficult it may appear, however, it may appear like it's not fair, but actually you only have his best interest in your mind. Therefore, I accept, right, whatever punishment you're giving. I think this is your mercy. And also he said that I think you are more merciful to the demons than you are to the demigods. Because when you are taking the material opulences and you're giving to the demigods, and what is the result? They become puffed up when they get material opulence. That's the nature of material. When you get material opulence, when you're in the conditioned state, then you become puffed up. Whereas with the demons, you're taking everything away from us. So you're actually waking us up to reality. You're showing us the right path. I think you're more merciful to us. And Bali Maharaj even said this before, that he was telling, if you remember, he was telling his friends, the demonic friends, when they attacked Vaman Dev, he said, my dear friends, stop, don't fight. Whatever opulence we got was by the influence of time. Who is time? Time is represented by the Supreme Lord. Time is nothing but one form of the Supreme Lord, the energy of the Supreme Lord. So at that time, the Supreme Lord favored us. Therefore, we were able to become, we were able to conquer Swarga. But now time is not favoring us. Supreme Lord is not favoring us at this time. You're not going to achieve anything by going and fighting against that. It's better to just accept it. What is Prahlad Maharaj saying here? Prahlad Maharaj is telling Vaman Dev, my dear Lord, when Bali conquered the heavens, that was due to your mercy only. And now when he lost everything, this is also due to your mercy. And you have acted equally in a most beautiful way in both situations. Your giving him the opulence is also, so it's also an aspect of your mercy, and you're taking everything away is also an aspect of your mercy. This is the vision of a devotee, right? Whether it is happiness, whether it is distress, whether it is success or failure, or profit or loss, victory or defeat, he sees both with an equal vision, because he sees, not a blade of grass moves without the will of Krishna. He sees the hand of Krishna in everything, and he accepts it. He accepts it gratefully. So we see that in Prahlad Maharaj also, when he's saying this to the Supreme Lord. Prahlad Maharaj said, my Lord, it is your Lordship who gave this Bali the great, very great opulence of the post of heavenly kingdom. And now, today, it is you who have taken it all away. I think you have acted with equal beauty in both ways, because his exalted position as King of Heaven was putting him in the darkness of ignorance. Why you're taking it away from him? Because he's getting so puffed up, right? And that is putting him in the darkness of ignorance, forgetting his position as a devotee of the Lord, right? Whatever position we are in this material world, if that position, name, fame, and all that is making us covered over by ignorance, what use is that position? So, because of his exalted position as King of Heaven, that position was putting him in the darkness of ignorance. You have done him a very merciful favor by taking away all his opulence. So devotees are able to see things as they are. Therefore, when we are not able to see, understand why certain things are happening in our life, we should seek the guidance of devotees whose vision is clear, who are able to see things properly as they are, and then they can tell us how to take that situation, how to understand that situation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Isha is here. Krishna Shish.
As it is said, Yasyaham anugrihnami harishye tadhanam shanai. It is by the mercy of the Lord that one gets all material opulence. But if such material opulence causes one to become puffed up and forget the process of self-realization, the Lord certainly takes all the opulence away. The Lord bestows mercy upon his devotee by helping him find out his constitutional position. For that purpose, the Lord is always ready to help the devotee in every way. But material opulence is sometimes dangerous because it diverts one's attention to false prestige by giving one the impression that he is the owner and master of everything he surveys, although actually that is not the fact. To protect the devotee from such a misunderstanding, the Lord, showing special mercy, sometimes takes away his material possessions. Yasyaham anugrihnami harishe tadhanam shanay.
So this is a very famous verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Yasyaham anugrihnami harishye tadhanam shanai. Yasyaham anugrihnami. When I become exceptionally inclined towards a devotee, when I want to show my special mercy to a devotee, this doesn't happen to all devotees, right? It doesn't happen as a common affair, right? It doesn't happen to every devotee, but some special devotee. When I'm especially when I want to favor one devotee, especially favor one devotee, what do? Harishye. Hari means one who takes away. Harishye tad dhanam shanai. I take away all his wealth, all material opulence. His family members will reject him. I take everything away from him. Why? That's also explained here in this purport. That material opulence is sometimes dangerous. Sometimes material opulence is dangerous because it diverts one's attention to false prestige by giving one the impression that he is the owner and master of everything he surveys. So we may face this in devotional life also. When we take to devotional service, initially we are very much appreciative of bhakti, of devotees, of the happiness that we are experiencing in bhakti, isn't it? We are very grateful. But gradually, and then we are given opportunities to render devotional service. We are recognized, right? We get some name, we get some, facility, and then because of our conditioned state, right? Because we start devotional service, it doesn't mean now I'm already a pure devotee. We have started it. We just started it. But just because I started it or just because I heard the philosophy, one thing is to hear the philosophy, oh, this is what it is. But that does not mean I'm already there. I have realized it. There's difference, isn't it? But the problem is when we hear something, we think, now I know and I'm already there, right? For example, if I understand what is pure devotional service, Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam Anukulena Krishnanushilanam Bhakti Ruttama. I know what is pure devotional service, and I start thinking I'm a pure devotee. No, right? I'm not. I understand what it is, but I'm not a pure devotee because I can see like that. So we start. So here the thing is, when you start getting facilities, when you get name, when you get fame, we become attached to those things. And then that genuine feeling of wanting to serve the Lord becomes covered over by this attitude of enjoying the material opulence that we are getting as a result of our devotional service. And then our bhakti is compared to a bhakti lata. Lata is what? A creeper. We get the seed from the spiritual master. He plants it, and then you water that seed with your bhakti, devotional service, bhajan, chanting, hearing, devotional service. With that, you're watering. And you have to protect that seed carefully from anarthas also. This is one anartha. When you get material opulence, when you get recognition, when you get name, if you start enjoying that, what happens? They choke the plant. Your bhakti creeper is not able to grow anymore. It chokes it up. So out of his mercy, Krishna takes away all those things, your position, your name, your fame, whatever you're getting, he takes it all away. And there you are again, just by yourself in front of Krishna, with no position, no name, no fame, no wealth. And at that time you realize I don't have anything. I am completely dependent on the Supreme Lord. and you go and humbly bow down in front of Krishna, which is favorable attitude, which is a favorable attitude to progress in bhakti. And that's what we want to do anyway, isn't it? We want to become devotees. But these things are obstacles. So then, out of his mercy, Krishna takes them away. So this is said in the context of the Pandavas. Of course, the Pandavas were not puffed up or anything, but Krishna uses his devotees to teach lessons. And the devotees are also happy to be used by Krishna to teach lessons to the world. Like Jai Vijay, they even became demons to give pleasure to Krishna, to become an instrument of Krishna's mission. Arjun was happy, right, to be bewildered so that Krishna can speak Bhagavad Gita, like that. So Krishna uses his devotees. But this verse, Yasyaham anugrihanami harishye tadhanam shanai. This is important. When I show special favor to a devotee, I take away all his opulence. Like in the case of Bali Maharaj. I take away all his opulence. Why? Because this Prahlad Maharaj is saying this. Because that opulence makes him covered by ignorance of his real position as a devotee of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, out of his mercy, Krishna takes away all that opulence. So Krishna's taking away all opulence is also an act of his mercy. That we should be able to see. When we get sufferings in life, we should be able to see this is Krishna's kindness to me. That he's giving me this suffering so that he can wake me up to reality. I was forgetting Krishna. I was covered over in ignorance, getting carried away by my material situation, whatever it is. So Krishna, out of his kindness, is removing all that so that I can come back on track. Prahlad Maharaj is seeing this and he's saying that. Okay. As it is said, Yasyaham anugrihanami harishye tadhanam shanai. It is the mercy of the Lord that one gets all material opulence. And also, getting material opulence is not by my capacity, certainly not in devotional service. In devotional service, certainly not. Whatever we are able to do, it's not by my power, by my karma or my intelligence. My intelligence is also not mine. That is also coming from Krishna. As Paramatma, he is giving. So what do we have to become proud about? And if I say, yes, I'm proud that I'm getting Krishna's mercy, then that is his mercy. He can take away at any time. You can be grateful. You cannot become proud of it. And if he's giving me mercy, he can give someone else mercy tomorrow. How I can say, and then I try to push the other person down, because why? That person is getting mercy, I should get all the mercy. Doesn't work like that. Krishna is the autocrat, Swarat. Everything belongs to him. And as long as we maintain our attitude as humble servants of Krishna, his mercy will flow. Because that's natural for him to give mercy to his devotees. But when we become proud, when we start, wanting to enjoy that position or that facility or that wealth, then Krishna can take it away at any time. And his taking away is also an act of his mercy. It's not out of wanting to punish you or something. No, that is also his love. That's also his love. A devotee is able to see this. Prahlad Maharaj is saying that. So he's happy. So he's saying when Bali Maharaj got all this, that was also your mercy. And when you're taking everything away, that is also your mercy on him. So to protect the devotee from such misunderstanding, the Lord, showing special mercy, sometimes takes away his material possessions. Yasyaham anugrihanami harishye tadhanam shanai. So we will stop Srimad Bhagavatam reading here. Tomorrow Madhava will begin. And let's read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 18, text 44. So we are reading about different types of people. People means different nature and different types of work, right? Krishna says, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha. He says, I have created these 4 divisions, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. How? Guna karma, based on guna and karma. Now this guna and karma is also according to the three modes. There is guna karma in goodness, guna karma in passion, guna karma in ignorance, and there's mixed modes also. So we saw Brahmanas, their guna and their karma is in the mode of goodness. Then we saw Kshatriya, their guna and karma is in the mode of passion. Vaishyas are in the mixed modes of passion and ignorance. Shudras will be in the mode of ignorance. Okay, so today we'll see the Vaishyas and Shudras. Text 44. Please repeat. Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam Paricharyatmakam Karma Sudrasyapi Swabhavajam. Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas. And for the Shudras, there are labor and service to others. One more thing you can take note of here is for Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, their nature is also described, isn't it? Like self-control, controlling the mind, simplicity, truthfulness. The qualities are described for Brahmanas. Similarly for Kshatriyas also. He's courageous in battle, Ishvara Bhava, right? For Kshatriyas. But for Vaishyas and Shudras, simply their work is given. So that should also tell us about the position of the different varnas, importance, right? So Krishi Goraksha Vanijam. What type of work does a Vaishya do? Krishi means agriculture. Goraksha means cow protection. Vanijam means trade. It's a business. Nowadays we say business, but actually it is trade. Because what do Vaishyas do? They grow food and they keep cows, they protect cows, and from cows you get milk, and they make so many milk products from that. And that's their sustenance, that's their means of livelihood. So they grow enough for their own family, but there's more than what they can eat in their family. So then they trade that with others who have other products. So someone else may be producing cloth, right? So then you need clothes to wear, so you exchange your milk products or your grains for clothes. This is called trade. That was the system in the past. Or you can have gold. Gold is also there. They trade with gold also. So Vaishyas, they do Krishi Goraksha Vanijam. And what do Shudras do? Paricharyatmakam karma. Paricharya means what? You go and work for someone. Like let's say Vaishyas have a farmland and they need some labor to come and at the time of planting the what do you say, field, right? Sowing the seeds, you need some work. Harvesting, you need removing weeds. So at different times there's need of workers. The Shudras are the workers that come and help all the three higher classes, whether Vaishyas or Kshatriyas or even Brahmanas. Even for Kshatriyas, there are soldiers that go and fight. They are helping the king. Generally, the Kshatriya means one who owns land. He is a Kshatriya. He owns land and then he rules. That is a Kshatriya. And then he has workers who work for him, right? They are Shudras. Brahmanas also, right? They have workers who help them at home. Like we read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srivas Thakur, he had, servants who help. They bring water, they clean the house, like that. Shudras. So this is the work for the different varnas. Now we'll read Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. Continuation. So Srila Prabhupada is in Radha Damodar temple now, translating. Any sound from the courtyard carried immediately to Bhaktivedanta Swami's quarters, and the clanging bell and gong would suddenly reverberate against the walls of his small room. From his sitting place, he could see only Vrindavan Chandra. Who is Vrindavan Chandra? Who is deity? You remember? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Vrindavan Chandra. So Srila Prabhupada is in Radha Damodar temple. There is Radha Vrindavan Chandra there. And of course, Radha Damodar is there. And there's other deities also. Now, if you go, you will see Sanatan Goswami's Govardhan is there. And Radha, I think, child chicken. And like that, there's 4 Radha Krishna deities, if I remember properly. And then, of course, you have all the samadhis, so many samadhis. There is Samadhi of Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami. So right there, Srila Prabhupada's room is also there. So we were reading yesterday in this, that early in the morning, about 4 o'clock, the Pujari will come, he'll wake up the deities, and about 5 o'clock, there's Mangal Arati, and some devotees come from outside also, and they're singing like that. So that sound would reverberate the walls of Srila Prabhupada's room. From his sitting place, he could see only Vrindavan Chandra on the left of the altar. Sometimes he would pause at his work and walk into the courtyard to see the deities and their arati. The altar was filled with deities of Radha and Krishna, who had been worshipped by Jiva Goswami and other Vaishnava acharyas hundreds of years ago. So Radha Damodar was worshipped by Jiva Goswami, and also there's other deities worshipped by other acharyas hundreds of years ago. After 10 minutes, the pujari, having offered the flame and then a conch shell filled with water, would turn and sprinkle offered water on the heads of the devotees, and the ceremony would end. After working a few hours on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhaktivedanta Swami would sit in his room and chant japa. As the morning sky turned light blue, the stars would vanish, and residents of Vrindavan would arrive to visit the deities and the samadhis of the Goswamis. Old women would enter the temple calling out Jai Radhe in broken voices. When Bhaktivedanta Swami opened the shutters, his room would fill with light. His windows faced a courtyard, but they were not so much windows as cement lattice work in the wall. There were not so much windows as cement lattice work in the wall, right? So there's a wall and you have some holes, right? They make in the wall itself like ventilation, right? They make holes in the wall itself like that, cement lattice work. Although passers-by could not easily see into the room, the lattice work allowed light to enter. In the morning light, the room was clearly revealed. The arched ceiling, the freshly painted walls with arched niches, the floor of inlaid stone. Bhaktivedanta Swami's thin sannyas danda, wrapped in heavy saffron khadi, leaned against one corner of the room. On one shelf, he had placed a picture of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, on another, a stack of books and manuscripts. The room's 2 doors appeared flimsy even when locked, and the whole room tilted slightly to the left. It was bare but peaceful. Often sitting on the veranda between the 2 rooms, he would view the courtyard, the altar, and the deities, Radha Damodar, Vrindavan Chandra, and several other Radha Krishna deities awaited their visitors. During the morning, the deity doors remained open as a regular file of visitors turned the temple into a bustling place of pilgrimage. No one stayed very long. Some had rigid schedules to visit many temples and hurried on. People, poor people, and also local businessmen, their wives in colorful saris, all devotees, headed towards the altar, calling, Jai Ho, Jai Radhe. After greeting the deities, they would disappear through the door to the outdoor area of the temple compound to visit the samadhis. One second, let me see. Oh no, there's a lot more. So we will continue tomorrow. Thank you, all devotees. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining.